Hey crafty people, it's Tasha. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm making this Flockstar box card using lots of Heffy Doodle's latest release. Let's start with the background. I'm ink blending with several shades of green distress oxides. I'm going to start with Twisted Citron. That's that bright and vibrant yellow green. I know that I'm going to be die cutting from this, so I'm really not worried about blend or even where I put each shade. Just interested in getting that ink onto the paper. Now we're going in with Lucky Clover. Adding different shades will help to give some dimension and just some general interest to a die cuts, really helping them not appear so flat. Finally, Rustic Wilderness is our darkest shade, and I'm just throwing that on wherever the mood takes me. Now let's add some more interest with water and ink splatters, and then we'll set this aside to dry. I want to be sure that I end up with a background large enough for the die cut I'm using, so I started by really roughly tracing the general size with a pencil. Then I'm going for a kind of sunset look, so I'm starting with some squeezed lemonade at the bottom, working in a sort of semicircular way, and then blending that out with carved pumpkin. I really don't want the blue of the sky to come into contact with that yellow, or we'll start to see a green shade that I definitely don't want in my sky, so that orange just works as a buffer and kind of mitigates that. The sky would be lightest around our setting sun, so I chose Broken China next, but I really need to give my Oxide some love and re-inking, so I quickly skipped to Prize Ribbon. Then chipped Sapphire for the darkest shade, and this ink pad really needs some serious attention. I'm just checking that I've covered enough space for the die, then I do like to go over again, just go back through the colours to make sure that I've got an even blend, and of course spritz some more water. Now we'll die cut from the panels, and I'm going to be honest here, this did not go as planned or anticipated. I did get there in the end, but yeah. I cut the 3 rows first to give me the score lines, then I was planning to use this grass border die to sort of cut from those rows, but as you can see, that just wasn't going to work. The grass is too long, and no matter what I tried, I couldn't make it work. I did manage to cut some grass from the leftovers, and I decided to move on because at this point I was just getting really frustrated. I added the stitched detailing die cut sky to the larger panel piece, and I cut that excess grass piece so that the stitching would all match up. At this point I was feeling pretty good again. I folded and reinforced each of those score lines and then slotted them into place, just gently lifting the sky panel to tuck them underneath. Now, you have to add each of your rows onto one side first, and it was here that I realised that the extra effort to give my grass matching stitching was totally moot. You don't even see any of that grass at all. Oh well. Once the glue is dry, you fold down the other side onto your rows to be sure that they'll be in the right place to allow your card to fold properly. I cut my sentiment from gold mirror cardstock, and I decided to pop it up with some foam. Now, if you're planning to mail this card in a standard envelope, then I'd probably leave off the foam. I knew that mine was going in a box, so I knew that it would be okay. I love how that looks against the sky. I pre-stamped and coloured a bunch of images from the Flockstar set, so I have those die cut and ready to go. At first I was trying to balance them where I was thinking I was going to put them, but that just didn't work too well, so I decided to just wing it and go straight to gluing. There were a few random bits of grass left over, so I just added them around my other images. I added some white gel pen highlights too because I'd completely forgotten to do that before this point. To add to that party atmosphere, I wanted these notes to be floating out of the stereo, so I added some acetate to them. I actually doubled it up because I'd only got a really thin acetate and it wasn't enough to support the weight, but that glue will dry completely clear, you cannot tell at all. I cut an extra panel to put on the back with a stamped sentiment and a flamingo that I had left over. I just think it dresses up the back nicely. I've got all of the supplies I used listed below, but if you'd rather see a visual list, then you can find that on my blog post, which is also linked below. If you don't already, please consider hitting that subscribe button and check the bell to be notified whenever I post. Have a lovely, happy, safe and wonderful week. Stay crafty. Bye.